How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today was Daf Chaf, Daf 20 of Masechta Nazir. Friends, it is a cold, rainy day here in Yerushalayim. Gewaldig. It's geschmack. I mean, what are we, in February or something? And it's already, it's the winter's coming. It's gewaldig. I mean, it's a winter day, finally. Cold, rainy. It hasn't stopped raining all day. That's kind of where, I don't really keep food in the house. So on a cold, rainy day, when it doesn't stop raining the whole day, you're a little stuck. You're going to have to get wet. Let's go weiter. So today we talk about some interesting stuff. We finished the third... Squeaky chair. Squeak. 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 One second. Alright, this seems a little bit less squeaky. We finished up the third parak of Masechta Nazir, and I guess should we start the fourth? That's a good kasha. Maybe not. Nah. Why start the fourth? Now we'll just finish the third parak. It talks about some interesting stuff about like moving to Eretz Yisrael, making aliyah like I did. Alright. Let's start in the Yud Testament page. Maybe 15 lines on the bottom or something. By the Mishnah, Mishnazar Naziros Harbe v'hishlim es Nazirusoi v'achar kach bol Eretz Yisrael v'sham yom Nazir shloshim yom u'v'sil om Nazir batchila. Wow, gewaldig. Alright, so you got a guy or a girl, and let's say it's a guy. So you have a guy, and he says he's going to be a Nazir for a while. How long should we say? 10 years? Alright, well let's say 7 years, because that's going to be the example later. Okay, he says he's going to be a Nazir for 7 years. Now, Vishlim as Nazir, so he was a Nazir for 7 years, and he's done. And afterwards, he decides, I'm going to make aliyah. Guess what? B'sham yom Nazir shloshim yom. B'sham says that when he gets to Eretz Yisrael, he's got to be a Nazir Nachamo for 30 days. And Basil om Nazir batchile. Basil says that no, he's got to start, his mamish got to go Nachamo. It's got to be a Nazir for 7 years again. The reason being that, of course, as we went at the end of Masechta Ksubis, chutzos is like avodah zarah. It's tamei, and therefore he was tamei. He was in Babylon. Wow, it's a good thing it's not that late. So it's like he was a Nazir who became tamei. So when he moves to Eretz Yisrael, now he's tahor, so he's gotta be a Nazir again. So Beis Shammai says he only has to be a Nazir for 30 days, and he's yotzes. Whereas Beis Hillel says that no, his mamish got to start from the beginning, all over again. Fine. Maise beHileni Amalka. There was a Maise with Heleni the queen. Shalach beno lamelchame, that her son went out to fight in the war. And she says, if my son comes home from the war in peace, I will be a Nazir for 7 years. Her son came back, Baruch Hashem, safely from the Milchame, and she was a Nazir for 7 years. Babylon. Wow, lots of Babylons. Fine. Where am I? Uvesof, Sheva Shanim, also La'aretz. And then after 7 years, she's done with her Naziris, she makes Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael. Baruch Beis Hillel says, Shetei Nazir od Sheva Shanim acheris. Beis Hillel says, now that, welcome to Israel, be a Nazir for another 7 years. Uvesof Sheva Shanim nitmeis, and at the end of the 7 years, sure enough, she became Tmeya, v'nimtzeis Nazir esim v'achas shana. She had to go Nachamo. She was a Nazir for 21 years. Amr Yehuda, did I skip? I don't think so. Amr Yehuda says, Yehuda lo ha'is Nazir elo arba esrei shana. Whereas Yehuda says 9. She was only a Nazir for 14 years, not for 21 years. Says the Gemara Katani Reisha Beis Shammai Omim Nazir Shloshim Yom V'Sil Omim Nazir Batchila. So we say in the Reisha that Beis Shammai says that even if it was a 7-year Nazirus, when so in Chutz La'aretz you say you're going to be a Nazir for 7 years, then you make Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael. So Beis Shammai says that when you make Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael, you got to be a Nazir, but only for 30 days. Whereas Beis Hillel says no, you got to mamish do the ganze Zach Nochamo. You got to be a Nazir for another 7 years. So let's say that this is the machlokas between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. The Beis Shammai sabe Eretz Oav mishum gusha gazru oleo. That Beis Shammai say that when we say that Chutz La'aretz is tamei, it's just the dirt, the ground of Chutz La'aretz is tamei. Not super duper tamei, just the ground. Whereas Beis Hillel says that we consider the air of Chutz La'aretz to be tamei. Dude, air is a big deal. Every breath you take in Chutz La'aretz, you're breathing in tumah. So that's a much more significant tumah. And for that, when you make Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael, then your mamash gonna have to do the Gans Naziris Nachamo. Fine. So lo d'chuliyav mishum gusha gozu aleh. No, everybody says, both Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel agree that in Chutz La'aretz the gezerah of Tumah is the ground, is the gusha. Okay. Beis Shammai savi b'stam naziris knisna u'Beis Hillel savi ki kanisna b'tchilas nazirus. So the machlokes between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel is that Beis Shammai says that Poshit, when they make the gezerah, when they make this knas, right, and they say that when you make the aliyah, so now you have to be a nazir again, because really it's like you were a tamei nazir. So Beis Shammai says, look, it's just a knas, and it's we just do it to be yotzes on 30 days nazirus. That's the minimum. That's kind of the minimum amount of nazirus. That's enough. Beis Hillel says, no, it's not enough. Mamish, the knas is not just a minimum knas. It's an entire knas. It's whatever the initial nazirus was commitment was for. So you're gonna have to do that nochama when you make aliyah to Eretz Yisrael. Okay. Maise Beleni Amalka v'chulei. The Mishnah had said that there was a Maise with Eleni Amalka, that she said that right, her son was fighting in a war, and she says if he comes back, she'll be in Nazir for 7 years. He came back, she moved to Eretz Yisrael, she became Tamei. So now we're going to explain the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda had said that no, she was a Nazira for 14 years. She was a Nazir for 14 years. Okay. So Ibarlu b'shenitmeiz v'aliba de Beis Shammai. So how does Rabbi Yehuda calculate 14 years? Is it that she became Tmeya, and it is according to Beis Shammai? So what that would mean is that Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's like Beis Shammai, which is she was in Chutz La'aretz and she was in Nazir for 7 years. She moved to Eretz Yisrael. Now, according to Beis Shammai, when she moves to Eretz Yisrael, she just needs to be in Nazir for 30 days. So 7 years and 30 days. But at the end of the 30 days, she became Tmeya. So now she had to be a Nazir for another 7 years. Now she had to be a Nazir for another 7 years. So when she became Tmeya at the end of those 30 days, she must had to start all the way over. So then, alright, so that was pretty much 14 years. As the Gemara is going to point out, it's technically 14 years and 30 days. Right, so do we say that it's like Beis Shammai, or perhaps the 14 years of Rabbi Yehuda are like Beis Hillel, that said she was a Nazira for 7 years in Chutz La'aretz. She moved to Eretz Yisrael, she made Aliyah, and now she had to be a Nazira for another 7 years like Beis Hillel. But she never then became Tamei at the end, so there wasn't the third set of 7 years, right? According to the Mishnah, right? According to Tanakama, we said that what happened was she was a Nazir for 7 years in Chutz La'aretz, made Aliyah, had to be a Nazir for another 7 years like Beis Hillel, and then she became Tamei at the end, so it was another 7 years, so it was 21 years. You could say that according to Rabbi Yehuda's understanding, she didn't become Tamei at the end, so it was just Pashat 14 years, right? It was Nazira in Chutz La'aretz, she moved to Eretz Yisrael, she had to be a Nazir Nachamal according to Beis Hillel. So again, so Ibarlu b'shenitmeiz v'aliba de Beis Shammai, is it that when she, at the end of her 30-day, Beis Shammai imposed Nazirus upon moving to Eretz Yisrael, she then became Tmeya, which then canceled everything and she had to start all over again. So therefore it was basically 14 years and 30 days. Or maybe it's like Beis Hillel that she moved to Eretz Yisrael. She had to be a Nazir for another 7 years. But she didn't then get Tomei at the end, so it was the 7 years of Chutzarts and the 7 years of Eretz Yisrael, and that's it. Tashma. Also, La'arz V'arua Beis Hillel, Shtei Nazir, Od Sheva Shanim Acheres V'chulei. So we say that, so it says that, it says in the Mishnah that she made Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael. Beis Hillel said she has to be a Nazir for another 7 years. Rabbi Yehuda had said only 14 years. And we could stop there. So if it's like Beis Shammai, so then it wouldn't just be 14 years, it would be 14 years and 30 days. But it doesn't say that. Rabbi Yehuda says 14 years flat. So therefore, it must have been like Beis Hillel, that it was 14 years in Chutzlarts, 7 years in Chutzlarts plus 7 years in Eretz Yisrael, but she never became Tamei at the end, so therefore Tmeya at the end, so it was just 14 years, and we can skip the rest until the Mishnah, because the goes, so the Tzionim says that we can, so if we can, we can. Next Mishnah. Excuse me. Baruch Hashem, I'm at the end of a cold. I had a cold for like a week, and now it's basically through, so there's just a little bit of closure that my body is doing with this cold. The final day of a cold is sort of cleanup, Let's go weiter. Fine. So, sorry. Says the Mishnah, so if you have a fellow and there's two groups of witnesses that are testifying about him, how honored he must be. So this group of witnesses are saying, this fellow, he said that he's gonna do 2 rounds, two terms of a Nazir experience. Nazir experience times 2. The other group of witnesses say, no, Nazir experience times 5. Beis Shammai says that actually, no. One group is saying 2, the other one's saying 5. It's apples and oranges. We can't trust anybody. Whereas Beis Hillel says, wait a second, hold your horses. This group is saying 2, that group is saying 5. What's the lowest common denominator? Who took 7th grade math? Or even maybe 5th grade, I don't know. Maybe 5th grade. 2. 2 is included in 5. So 2. Okay, 2 Nazir experiences. Fine. That's Beis Hillel's opinion. Says the Gemara, Masnisim Deloki Aitane, that our Mishnah is not like the following. Tane de Tanya. We learn in a Brisa. Rabbi Shmuel ben Osher Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka Omer. Says Rabbi Shmuel ben Osher Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. Lo nechliku Beis Shammai Beis Hillel al shtei kitei edim. So it says Rabbi Shmuel ben Osher Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. It's a mouthful. That Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel agree al shtei kitei edim achasomer shtayim v'achasomer chomesh sheish b'chal chomesh shtayim. Look, says Rabbi Yochanan ben Osher Rabbi Shmuel ben Osher Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka says him that everybody agrees. Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel both agree that if we have 2 separate groups of witnesses, one says 2, one says 5, so we go with the least common denominator. What's the machlokas Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel? Al kas achas, on one group. Echad omer shtayim ve'echad omer chomesh. One witness is saying that the fellow committed to 2 Nazir experiences, and the other one says nisht, it was 5 Nazir experiences. Beis Shammai omrim nechel ko eduson, u'Beis Hillel omrim yesh b'chal chomesh shtayim. That Beis Shammai says, look, how can you have one pair of witnesses that are saying different things? One saying 2, one saying 5. Forget about it. Whereas Beis Hillel says, look, 2 is included in 5, so let's just go with the lowest common denominator, 2, and we can just trust their edus as one unit that is testifying about 2 Nazir's terms, experiences, things. Omer Rav, says Rav, Hakamodin b'moneh. Everybody agrees when it comes to counting. Okay. Omer le Rav Chama le Rav Chizde. Says Rav Chama to Rav Chizde. Maika Omer. So Rav Chama says to Rav Chizde, what exactly is Rav saying? Right, that Rav was saying that everybody agrees that if he's counting, so then we consider the testimony to be split. And it says of Chomater of Chizda, what exactly is going on? Ilema echad omer chomish v'lo shtayim ve'echad omer shtayim v'lo chomish. If we saying that that one is saying 5 and not 2, the other one is saying 2 and not 5. So, of course, they're contradicting each other. One says 2 and not 5, the other one says 5 and not 2. Okay, this obviously we can't trust them. Rather, one of them says 1 and 2, the other one says 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Halamali. But I don't understand. Hashti Ishlomar, you could say, Chamirta Omar Ra, you could skip the word Rav, Chamirta Omar, Kilta Omar. You can explain that, no, that they're really saying the same thing. That one of them is saying 1 and 2. The other one isn't just saying 3, 4, and 5. He's saying 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. He just didn't repeat 1 and 2 because the first guy already said it. So therefore I don't understand Rav. Right? Rav is saying that if we're talking that in a situation of counting, then we split the testimony. But it sounds like if we're counting, where one of them says 1 and 2, the other one says 3, 4, 5, it sounds like they're basically, we can go with the lowest common denominator of 2. And actually, in Eretz Yisrael, they say that in such a situation, if in this counting situation, it wouldn't be considered a kosher, and we actually would be able to trust the testimony if one says 1 and 2, and the other one says 3, 4, 5. Alright, so it sounds like it's taka a problem for Rab. Friends, let's stop here at the end of the parak, and we'll pick up tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be kind of a big daf, but tomorrow's going to be tomorrow's going to be a shtickle big, because we're also going to go like halfway through Chav Beit. Oh my gosh, we're basically going to do 2 daf tomorrow? That's insane. Alright, but then, that's weird. Yeah, like today we basically did like an Amud, although we did a little bit on Chaf New Testament Beis. I think tomorrow we're basically going to do Chaf Amud Beis, Chaf Aleph, and Chaf Beis Amud Aleph. Alright, let's see how that goes. Anyways, friends, today we discussed some interesting stuff about moving to Eretz Yisrael as a Nazir, right? That Beis Shammai says that you have to be a Nazir for an additional 30 days, and Beis Hillel says you have to do the whole thing all over again. And then we got to a situation of if you have witnesses testifying, right, one of them says that he's committed to 2 terms, one of them said he committed to 5 terms. So the question is it considered that they are contradicting each other, or can we just say, look, the lowest common denominator is 2. Beis Shammai says they're contradicting each other, and Beis Hillel says that we can go with the lowest common denominator. Alright, and then at the end we talked about if you broke it up, instead of saying 2 and 5, you said 1 and 2, and then the other guy said 3, 4, 5, said fine. Friends, we're going to stop here. That was the end of the 3rd parak of Masechta Nazir, and tomorrow we'll begin with the 4th parak of Masechta Nazir. Peace.